તાજા સમાચાર તમારી ભાષામાં મેળવવા માટે ડાઉનલોડ કરો ગુજરાતી મિડ ડેની એપ.
Look at the scale, the texture, the brilliance of it. I'll come to all of that, the technicalities, the performance, the emotion behind it. But first, the stock question. Why Veer Savarkar?
Why not Veer Savarkar? In the 80s, there was a movie made on Gandhiji. Subsequently, there have been movies made on Sardar Patel, two of them. And I myself have done Rang Rasya, I played on Raja Ravi Verma, I did Charles Sobraj, Sarabjit. So, why not Savarkar? I think that's the big question. I think movies are a great medium of reaching out to people, even internationally. America has done that very well, even recently with Oppenheimer. They have, but in our country, we are shooting down our own icons, which is unbelievable. So my question to everybody is, why not a movie on Savarkar?
Brilliantly put. Not just your transformation in terms of physicality, but the emotional landscape of it. You have lived the character. And here is a story that tells us who the man was. Can you please tell us who the man was not?
What he was brave. And what he wasn't was a coward. What is the first word comes to anybody's mind when you talk about Savarkar in today's dispensation? First word. Maafiveer. He was not a maafiveer. There were petitions, bail pleas they were called, and everybody had a right to apply to the court. And if anybody has been to court, they would know how they address the court. And the language is very respectful, though you might not mean it. And there were many, many people who wrote that. If you're sentenced to 50 years of life in Kalapani in a 7x11 cell, you would not just rest there and think of it as a resort for the next 50 years of your life. You will use everything, Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed, to get out of there. He felt that he had to contribute a lot to India's freedom struggle, culturally, socially, and he wanted to get out. दुश्मन को किए हुए वादे निभाए नहीं जाते.
Crisp and sharp, blunt and sharp at the same time. Please tell me why the man, the Veer that he was, his philosophy, his ideology, why he continues to be relevant even in today's day and time.
Well, he's very relevant today because he looked at India as a civilization. He looked at India as a cultural unit, as Akhand Bharat, as he used to say. And India's position in the world today has grown not only because of diplomacy, but because we are armed to the teeth. It's only being armed that there can be peace. Otherwise, people will keep bullying you. And I think the India as a country today is armed and it's respected in the world, and there is peace because we are armed. And that was Mr. Savarkar's philosophy, and his philosophy on Hindutva was all-encompassing कि देश धर्म से ऊपर होता है और सिंधु नदी से सिंधु सागर तक जो भी यहाँ रहते हैं वो जो भी इसको अपने पूर्वजों की ज़मीन, मतलब अपने पितृभू पूर्वजों की ज़मीन, मातृभूमि, यहाँ की संस्कृति, त्योहार, खान पान को अपना मानते हैं, वो हिंदू हैं, चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म, जात या समाज के क्यों ना हो. तो आई थिंक हिज idea of uniting India as a society, as a country, was the most unifying. And I think that's what we are following today. We are trying to unify the country where we put country before religion.
This man has internalized the character to another level, to another degree.
I think somewhere I read many books about him in Hindi, English, and even got my Marathi friends to, kind of give me proper translations of their films. I had a great co-writer in Utkarsh, and when we wrote Utkarsh Nethani, and when we wrote it kind of visually in our discussions over many nights of fighting. And then once that idea started forming in my head, I was very fortunate to have a great team. The movie is looking great because of Arvind Krishna, who was my cinematographer, and Nilesh Wagh, who's my production designer, Sachin Lovelekar, who did the costumes, and even my CG VFX team at White Apple. They've been great, and sound of Ganesh. So I had every time I came across something, like my first day as a director, or first day as a writer, first day on the edit or anything, I used to always say, okay, I've never done this before. Please tell me, how is it to be done? So once I learned that very quickly, then I'll be telling them how to do it very soon.
And the background.
And the background, yeah. And background done by Matthias Duplessis and Sandesh Sandalia. I wanted a very modern sound to the movie. I always wanted this movie to go across to young people who maximum number of percentage of young in India, the young people, and I wanted the real Savarkar ji to come across to them. And that's why I tried to make a movie which was modern, young, relatable, and all-encompassing story on his life. It was a very difficult 2 years for me. I often say that I was in Kala Pani for 2 years, but I'm really happy that Swatantra Veer Savarkar is finally releasing from the jails of perception, and the real story will get across to people. 1900s के पहले दशक में एक मूवमेंट शुरू हो चुका था. एक तो सीक्रेट सोसाइटीज़ बन चुकी थी. सावरकर जी वीर सावरकर was at the helm of it. लोकमान्य तिलक जी का उन पे हाथ था, और वो प्लान कर रहे थे. उन्होंने गन्स इंडिया स्मगल की थी, बॉम्ब मैनुअल्स इंडिया स्मगल किए थे, और सबको चिट्ठी लिखी थी कि वो बगावत के लिए तैयार हो जाएं, प्रिंसली स्टेट्स को, फौजियों को. तो 1912 तक उन्होंने ये प्लान किया था कि हम इनको इतने कम तादाद में अंग्रेज़ हैं हमारे देश में कि अगर हमने इनको मारना शुरू किया तो इनको समझ में नहीं आएगा और ये डर के भाग जाएंगे. अनफॉर्चुनेटली लोकमान्य तिलक died. Veer Savarkar was sent to prison, and that momentum of that movement was lost. And then, of course, the non-violent movement started, which was more conducive to the British because it was not direct confrontation, and it was negotiations that went on for many years. And ultimately, they left because they lost too much money in the First World War, and they had to leave. But that's the story. We could have got our freedom earlier. But in both cases, I really do enjoy doing biopics. Nonetheless, it gives me an out-of-body experience if anybody gets that.
Yeah, and one more, like Mahatma Gandhi ji ki assassination को लेकर भी evidences है, तो how has that thing been shown, and कितना उसका ख्याल रखा गया है कि
देखिए, इस पिक्चर में से मैंने उनके ऊपर उनके जितने भी इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स जो पब्लिक लाइफ में उनके ऊपर सवाल उठते हैं, मैंने उन सबको एड्रेस किया है. Bapu's assassination is also a part of the movie, but that is not what we dwell into. सावरकर जी को उससे बाइज्जत बरी कर दिया गया था, इसलिए नहीं कि सबूत नहीं था, इसलिए कि उनका उससे कोई कनेक्शन बना ही नहीं पाए. और फिर उनके ऊपर कपूर कमीशन भी बैठी थी, उन्होंने भी डाउट दिखाया. एंड इन 2018 द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया upheld the decision that was taken in 1948-49 after Gandhiji's assassination, that he was innocent.
સબસ્ક્રાઇબ કરો ગુજરાતી મિડ ડે. બેલ આઇકોન પર ક્લિક કરીને મેળવો તમામ વિડીયોના ડાયરેક્ટ નોટિફિકેશન.